So I suspect that you think that the you that I'm speaking to right now is the only version of you that exists. What I want you to know that the version of you that I'm speaking to is but a fraction of the entirety of who you are. But that fraction has the entirety in it. It's similar to when you take a piece of glass and you throw it on the floor, and then there are shards all over the floor. That shard is glass, but it feels somewhat separate from the other shards because they're not complete. There are many, many, many versions of you that are floating around somewhere in different time spaces. There could be a version of you that's existing in the year 1800 as we speak. You think 1800s in the past because that's linear thinking. But past, present, future, and all possibilities in between are all happening simultaneously. Then there might be another version of you that's existing on a different version of planet Earth in the same year. Then there might be another version of you that's existing in the year 3000. And so on and so on and so on. Why would there be many versions of you? Well, logically speaking, would Source, God, collect as much data if there was only one of you? Of course not, right? It would collect a lot more data, meaning it would be able to expand at a much faster rate if 8 billion humans on the planet also had billions of other versions of them all over the universe, the multiverse. So it's for this reason that your soul, you could say, has many different versions of you that all make up that soul. And every single version of you is on a mission to become self-actualized. But you're all working together whether you know this or not. You're all working together. In a way, you could say that you're currently cleaning up the memory in the year 2023. You're like in a memory right now, and you're cleaning that up by making better choices, by bringing love to everything that you do and taste and touch and smell, by aligning yourself with these other parts of you, these other versions of you. So how does this work exactly? Well, for instance, when you wake up in the morning and you're dreading the idea of going to work, you're like almost allergic to go to work, but you've been in the same routine for a long time and you don't know any other way to go about life. Well, you're going to keep repeating that pattern. But that emotion is signaling to you that something about your life is off. Yeah? So if you were, for instance, to skip work that day, or if you were to start thinking about, what would it be like if I didn't go to work anymore? You might have some fear creep up. However, by listening to that instruction or to that inner voice, you're actually listening to another version of you that's saying, hey, if you listen to me, okay, and I'm not encouraging you to skip work. I'm saying, if you listen to me and you stop feeding into the fear, it's going to be hard, but you and I will be able to merge and become one. Another example. So I loved lifting weights for 20 years. I was an avid weightlifter and really in shape too. I'm still in shape because I'm swimming every other day. But I got something from that for a long time. It was empowering me. And then after you do something for 20 years, I started outgrowing it. But for years, I was really stubborn. I was digging my heels in. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. But I heard a little voice that said, Phil, if you someday want to be fully free and you want to become your highest potential, then stop going. So then I stopped going. And I became this version of me that I am now, which is the version I always daydreamed about becoming. Someone who's much freer. Someone who's not attached to anything. So I'm just using that as an example. But a lot of times we resist these other parts of us because we're afraid to lean into the unknown. All these versions of you are working together. What happens when you don't listen to them? They don't judge you. It's just that you're stalling all of them. They all want to become self-actualized, each and every one of them. Now, what is self-actualization? When all of these parts of you glue back together as you. And then on their own journey, whether it's in the year 2030, 3020, they all become them, meaning they all merge and become self-actualized as that version of you on that other timeline or in that other reality. See, they're all working to learn how to harmonize. That's what you're here to do. So for instance, let's say you've been obsessing over a guy and you stubbornly keep reaching out to them, but there's a little voice in you that's like, hey, stop doing that. That other version of you is existing somewhere else, and it needs you to get on board with it so that both of you can start to evolve. So both of you can start rising up to your highest potential. Right? So your spirit guides are actually other versions of you and so much more. But for this video, let's focus on that. I call them your parallel selves. They may have a different name. They may look different than you, but they constitute the one soul that you are. And so you could say that the soul split off into 1,000 pieces or into 1,000 directions so that it can gain more information, so that you and the other versions of you start sending that information to each other. Right? And then when you learn to work together, then you start to merge, you start to harmonize. And then you become much more chill. You're not chasing anything anymore. Right? That was my story. I was like, I need to look like this. I need to look like this. But the thing is, was that helping me evolve as a soul? Or was I a hamster on the same old wheel? I was a hamster on the same old wheel. So I was refusing to listen to those other parts of me that are like, Phil, your life is only going to get better if you listen to us. I didn't want to listen. But eventually, they left me no choice because I got sick with capital C in 2021, December. And I got so sick, which was a blessing, by the way, that they got louder. And I couldn't fight them anymore. I fought them for years. Because the thing is, when you're in your own pattern, you know the results that you're getting, right? So why would you stop? Why would I stop lifting weights if it gave me an amazing body? And I kept getting compliments. Why? Well, the answer is simple. Because I would have attracted the wrong kind of lover. Someone who would have only loved me for my body, right? So these other parts of you are working with you to wake you up, to shake you up. And of course, you're not going to want to listen to them. By the way, these other parts of you are always speaking to you through people in your life as well. So pay attention. You may not like what some people in your life have to say, but pay attention. Because the intention is to get you to measure up to your highest potential. Guess what happens? Every version of you rises up to that highest potential the more that you learn to work with each other. And then guess what happens? You ready for this? Every version of you in any respective reality becomes enlightened. And then guess what happens? All the versions of you stop suffering. In the year 4000, no more suffering. In the year 1800, no more suffering. In the year 2024, no more suffering. Because you all became aware of each other. And as difficult as it was, you started listening to each other. I panicked the first week I stopped lifting weights. But I knew I had to do it so that I can become this. Someone who's so chill, free. I'm never in a rush. I'm not rigid anymore. Take me camping. I'm here for it. I'm here for new experiences. Right? Now those other versions are having new experiences too. But if you're always running the same hamster wheel, are you actually gathering new experiences? No, you are not. They're all stuck. They've all plateaued. So that inner voice are other versions of you needing you to get on board and you needing them to get on board so that you can all rise up to your highest potential. I love you.